I'm looking at you, Miss Bubbleflower. I'm looking at you.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, Miss Bubbleflower's next. No.
Miss Bubbleflower's next.
One next. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Salty Takes. My name is Jake. This is Kenny, and we are going to go over some of our salty takes about the recent bans and kind of what we expect to see and what we want to see. So it might get a little bit, get a little bit heated. I know we have different takes on
Very
on
true.
some cards. So let's start out by talking a little bit about what we think based off of the recent bans, what might be on the chopping block next.
Yeah. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in your camp with this. And the free spells and interaction. That was your number one choice the first day they rolled out the tongue. I personally am okay with the free spells as long as there's conditions always being behind it. Even though there are some that are not really too difficult to do, like just have your commander and bam, it's free, right? But it's still a condition, something that has to be done. I don't think it's really too backbreaking, and it really lead to those, oh man, you got me moments that are so funny in the game.
I don't think that they're a huge problem necessarily. Like, I'll run a couple. One that comes to mind is Fierce Guardianship. Just a free counter spell for having your commander out. Especially if you're running a low-cost commander, that's going to be the majority of the time. You're going to be able to cast that for free. Other just commander-specific cards really is what brought this up, is like Deflecting Swat, Deadly Rollick, the green one.
The green one. The green free spell.
Don't know if that's a problem, but there's a green one. I just think that free interaction in general is probably something to keep an eye on. So... Another kind of card type to be aware of that might be on the chopping block. And again, this is just our opinion. This is all conjecture.
Yeah,
we have no idea. We don't have the inside information.
No.
But another one is cheap tutors.
And this one I agree with to a degree, right? I mean, we both think that cheap tutors are terrible. Well, not terrible, but they just do what they're supposed to do really well. But I specifically do not like the tutors that are in black because they get you any card. Everything else has a restriction stapled to it other than the other guy. And don't tell me the whole, I can see it now, oh, you have to lose life. That 2 points of life is absolutely nothing.
So did Mana Crypt. Okay? That's not going to save you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's then obviously the ones we're talking about mostly is like Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, even Demonic Tutor to some extent, especially because that gets directly into your hand, so you don't even have to wait or rely on another piece to draw you that card, because it just grab everything. Whatever you're missing, you can go get. If you're especially running a combo, you can grab whatever you're missing. It's just having an extra copy of that card, and it's so cheap for those. It's just 1 mana, 2 mana. A lot of ways to even repeat it.
Dead,
so
right? Because it can always get you whatever you need. Whatever. It doesn't have to be your combo. It could be that piece of removal that you see, or something to stop somebody XYZ from getting the job done. Anything you want, it can be it. You just need to have every single copy of it. And then for me, another thing is variance. Like, it allows the variant, because Commander is a singleton format. There should be 100 individual cards, and I think tutors really take away from the variance of the game itself. And truly, the spice of life is variety. And so, I mean, it really takes the fun out of it for me. That's why I don't run too many of them. So,
and to a lesser extent, the other colors too, like Worldly Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Mystical Tutor. They're still really cheap, really good. They are somewhat limited, but if they're in decks, that limitation doesn't matter.
Exactly. You forgot the most important one, Gamble.
Gamble, of course, yes.
The best one by far. I mean, it's not like you get one and then you potentially lose it. Truly a gamble.
Some decks, Gamble goes hard. It's
and
so good.
Other ones, not so much.
Yeah, I think just in general, those tutors lean or make Commander less variant, and just give you more consistency for such a low cost. I think
Agreed.
That might be something to keep an eye on. So
Agreed. So I mean, the next set we kind of like, and everybody knows these people at the table. Do you want to pay the 1? Do you want to pay the 2? We all don't like those people. So why not just throw Ristic Study?
It's me.
And Smothering Tithe upon that block.
I am people. That is me.
And so, like, yeah, it's not that they're not gonna win the game outright, but they do enable that victory to be had at a lot quicker rate.
Well, it's just 4-player format, man. It's such good value. Drop, turn 2 if you have some ramp. Drop a Ristic Study, and then you're just off to the races. And obviously people can remove it, and a lot of the time it does get removed. I think this is probably the least offender of the ones we talked about so far, but it does, especially if you're just leaving it alone, if you're not paying the 1, it can get out of hand extremely fast. Another one that goes in that camp is also Smothering Tithe.
Yep.
It is more expensive to cast, but it does have a higher penalty for people who are drawing cards, which you want to be doing in Commander.
Exactly.
A lot of it. So, especially if you see a Ristic Study and a Smothering Tithe on the table, you're going to have a bad time. I'm looking at you, Miss Bubbleflower. I'm looking at you.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, Miss Bubbleflower's next. No, Miss Bubbleflower's next. What's next? Before we go on to our picks for what should be banned next, if you want your salty takes in the next video, leave a comment down below. Tell us your saltiest take for a chance to end up in next week's video. Our saltiest take from last week was from the Wheelsman 29. They go on to say about Thassa's Oracle and how it's hard to interact with Peace as far as a win con to draw your whole deck, which I completely agree with. It is quite the card. You don't really see it all that much in casual, but when you do, it definitely makes a splash. So
it does.
Thank you so much for the Wheelsman 29 for your salty comment. By the way, if you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We release this content every week. And make sure to comment so you can get featured in the next episode. But now we're going to go on to our personal picks for the bans. Not necessarily what we think will get banned, but just stuff that we hate seeing.
I want it banned.
I want it out of there. I don't like them. Go away, please. So this is completely subjective. So if you disagree, also let us know.
And I don't care if you do.
And Kenny doesn't care.
My first one should be of no surprise to anybody. Because of the whole recent bannings about fast mana, let's get rid of that pesky little Soul Ring.
That good old Soul Ring.
I have decks that don't run it, and I think they work just fine-ish. So, I mean, it's just icing on the cake, not really necessary. I'd be totally good without.
Yep. If we're wanting to really go down and remove all auto-includes, I think Soul Ring does take the cake. The Rules Committee did mention why they didn't. I don't necessarily agree with that reason.
5 mana on turn 2 is still very possible with the Soul Ring.
But I understand why they didn't, because now every single Commander Freecon has a banned card in it.
And it will for the next couple of years, I'm sure.
I'm sure. So I understand. But yeah, for sure. Like it definitely does lead to some very explosive stuff. And I think the format in general will be a little bit better.
I agree.
But I still like explosive stuff, so I'm not as hard on Soul Ring.
Me too. So I guess I'm not the way it is. It is what it is. So what about you? What's your number one?
Mine are more of a pipe dreams that I don't think will get removed, and they're not egregious. But my first one is Expropriate.
I love that card.
There's just so many ways to abuse it, to cast it for cheap early game,
to copy it 4 or 5 times.
Copy it so many times. If I see a 1,000-Year Storm and an Expropriate, I will just roll my eyes back into my head and start cleaning up. Like it's never really a fun card to see.
Usually once it comes down, I'm done.
Right.
I can't deal with this.
I do think it's more egregious because it's just a single piece. It's so much value. It is 9 mana, but there's so many ways to keep casting for cheaper. So I would get rid of Expropriate.
I agree with you.
Don't like it.
I agree with you on that one too. Makes sense.
Yep. So what's your next one?
Oh man, we've all had that game where everything's going along swimmingly. Homeboy has that little tiny creature that he decides to swing in, and then somehow it gets bigger, and then you still ain't blocking nothing because it's only 10 damage, and then Tainted Strike.
Tainted Strike.
I hate that card with a passion. I have been tainted. I have been infected out by that thing. Yeah, let's keep on. I'll be here all day if we got to count how many times that happened. I hate that card.
You hate that card.
I hate that card. Surprise, you're dead. It's fun, but it's not fun.
10's not going to kill you in Commander, usually.
Yeah, usually.
Usually. Unless it is Infect. And just doing that at instant speed, I think, is pretty pretty powerful. You don't see it that often. I don't think.
I see it way more often than I'd like to. That's for sure. That's what it is. Number two.
I would very much like to get rid of Drannith Magistrate.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I just think it does all the things for 2 mana.
Mm-hmm.
It is a creature. It's easier to remove.
Drannith Magistrate is not fun. I mean, it majority of the time, and everybody talks about it, there's a reason why precons show 1 to 2 and then have, face commanders, and they have different identities they can go.
Right.
Because those things require your commander or desire your commander to be there, and the inability to do so, to move your game state, just kind of sucks.
Right. I think it wouldn't be as bad if it just did the one thing, but it stops you from casting things from your command zone, from exile, from the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Just all of the things for 2 mana, I think, is a bit egregious. So when you see it, you just need to remove it, or it'll shut down most decks that cast anything other than your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So don't love it.
Who does those things?
Who does it? Yeah, okay, so I should clarify. I think Graveyard Hate is good. I think
it's great.
Card Draw Hate is good, which will lead me into my next one. But because there's a point at which I think it's
egregious. Just go for it.
All right, my third one is Orcish Bowmaster. Another 2-drop with flash, which says whenever a person draws a card except for the first one, you do 1 damage to any target, and you get to amass 1. For 2 mana with flash, apparently Wizards doesn't like flash. That's why Nanu was made that way. Apparently, I don't know. Who knows? But 2 mana, I think it also does all the things. I would like it more if it was just opponent. And I honestly, the amass 1 is fine, even if it's still opponent. But I just think any target, you can just start clicking away at anything whenever someone draws another card. It doesn't have to be even that opponent. I hate it.
Well, I think Orcish Bowmaster, so that came in the Lord of the Rings set.
Yep.
So specifically for Modern to start off with, right? And so in Modern, if you think of it in the grand scope of Modern, Fatal Push, Lightning Bolts, anything, there are many spells that are just going to kill it out the gate.
True.
And it doesn't live that long. You typically, in Modern, you're typically not drawing 20, 30 cards, except for now, but Necrodominance somehow made that a thing. But if you think of it in the Modern set, it's a really good card. If in Commander, I still don't see people. Well, no, I lie. I saw you draw like 40 cards once, so that would be back. But I've never seen anybody else draw cards like that.
I don't know. My whole shtick, and maybe I just feel maybe it is me. Is my personal take.
It's your bad.
A lot of my decks are just value city. Like
value beyond value, by the way. Once you get all your pieces on there, you're like in value heaven, dude. You love your value creates value that makes more value just for the sake of having value.
Right. Which, and then I forget to put a win con in there. So
there's no win con, but value down.
There are many games that I will draw my entire deck and then just lose.
Because it's quite funny.
Which is funny. I like doing that. And people, I just think it's a fun play style where I get satisfaction from that. And Orcish Bowmaster stops me from doing that.
Kills him.
It doesn't necessarily kill me, but it'll kill my pieces that I'm using to do that, which is what the card is for, and I get that. I just think it's too cheap, and I think the amass on it, I just fix one of those problems.
Yeah.
Any one of them. I think you should do all 3. That's my take on Orcish Bowmaster.
It is what it is, dude. All right, so my final one, and this is, it's not one card, but it's a shared type.
Yeah.
And everybody is going to agree with me, just 100%. If you don't, piss off.
If you don't, you're playing it.
Slivers. Everything slivers. Get rid of it. There is no reason why all slivers should have all sliver abilities. I get the flavor. I really do. I'm all about the lore stuff. But no, I'm not a fan of slivers as a whole. Get rid of slivers.
I see slivers a lot. So this conversation topic comes up a lot, which is the sliver player will come out And usually the silver player will know that they are the target just right off the bat. And usually they're expecting that. And most of them understand, but some
Are oblivious to whatever fact.
are somehow surprised when they are targeted first.
The worst of the saying, "Oh, it's never done this before."
Right? Every time.
You lie.
Whoa, my commander's a tutor and like it's doing the thing so good. Like I think there's something, if you come and you expect to be the target, that's fine. It also feels bad trying to kill one person before the game even starts.
Exactly. But you deserve it if you're playing slivers.
I agree. It's just every single card in that deck does all the things.
Yeah.
Which is something that I complain about a lot. I don't think you should do all the things.
So anyway, those are our salty things for this week. So make sure that you put in the comments below that if you see anything, if there's any salty things you want to be talking about, let us know. We'll shout you out in the next video and we'll cover it a little bit better.
And if you agree or disagree with our ban decisions, just remember, don't be salty.